one for the blood.
Alrighty guys, welcome back. Part 2 of my comprehensive recap review of the Menza Open tournament, which I have attended last week and placed 3rd overall in. So in this video, I'm going to go through my first 3 games that were held on the first day. I'm going to go through who I versed, what the game was like, how it went down, what lists they brought, what sideboard I brought, those sorts of things. So the first game that I played against was, so if you've just clicked on, you might want to go back and watch the first video because I go through a lot of stuff in there that if you haven't watched, you're not really going to know what the fuck I'm talking about right now. So I suggest going back and finding part 1 of this series. But in this part 2, I'm going to go through the first 3 games. Now, I won all 3 of these games, and they were convincing wins as well. Like, I tabled my opponent in all 3 games. So these were the games I'm more proud of. The second video, or the third video I should say, is somewhat less flattering, but this was there was some strong games here. So the first list that I went up against, which you can see it here, is a Necron Royal Court, or a Necron CAD with a Royal Court attachment. You'll have to forgive me, I really do not know Necrons well. I've never played with Necrons, and I play against them not often enough that I can comfortably say what everything does. So I had to really trust my opponent on this one. And I'm never going to be the game that's going to constantly tell them to pull out their codex and show me that rule. You know, I just, whatever, I'll take their word for it. And if I'm confused by something, I'll look it up after the game. And if I find out you lied to me, you're going to get hit by a sportsman score. So he had, in his CAD, he had a Destroyer Lord, Nightmare Shroud, I don't know what that does, Phase Shifter, I don't know what that does, I don't even know how to pronounce that, Resurrection Orb though, that helped him out a lot. But basically with this Lord, from what I can see on a practical sense, was he had a 2-up armor save, he had, which he could reroll his armor save, he had the 4-up reanimation protocol, which he could also reroll thanks to the res orb. So he had a 2-up to a 4-up to a 4-up to a 4-up, because 2-up rerollables became a 2-up to a 4-up. And then you have another 4-up, which was also rerollable. So it was 2-up, 4-up, 4-up, 4-up. So anything other than strength D is not going to kill him, in theory. Either way around it. But yes, so that was his HQ. Then his 2 troops were his Immortals, which he just had them camping on the backfield. And then he had some Wraiths, 5 Wraiths, unit of 5. And then in his Royal Court, he had Nemazor, which everybody keeps telling me is the key to their Death Star. He gave the unit Fearless, which was very important. And then I think he's also the one that allowed the unit to reroll their armor saves. I'm pretty sure that's where he gets that power from. I could be wrong. It might have been from this guy, whoever that is. But one of the characters gave him that ability. And then he had another guy there, and then he had a Lord with another res orb, which again allowed him for another turn to reroll those reanimations. Which, when they get rerolls to those, it makes them really hard to move. So that was his core list. And then he only had he had 3 sideboards. Most of the opponents I played only ran a single sideboard. So this was one of the few opponents that ran multiples. So he had the Cryptek with the flayed ones. He did not use that one. He had the Cryptek with the Lich Guard. I believe that's the one he used. Yeah, that's the one he used. So we had a Cryptek in there and a squad of 8 Lich Guards. So we had a big Lich Guard blob with all of his lords all joined into it, and then the Wraiths along the side and the 2 units of Immortals on the backfield was how he ran it. So I'm not 100% sure why he went with the Lich Guard, but It looks like either way, each one of his sideboards had that same cryptek in it, and it looks like he was just deciding what the core unit of his Death Star would be, whether it be the Triarchs, the Lich Guard, or the Flayed Ones. I'm guessing that's how he's run it. Either way, I'm certain I went up against Lich Guard. So when I saw that, I asked him at the start of the game, because I don't know Necrons very well, I said, tell me in your list what anti-Knight stuff have you got? And I think this might have actually played the Psych Out card, because I said, what anti-Knight stuff have you got? So he went and looked and gone, no anti-tank. I don't even know about these guys, but I'm assuming they're not massive anti-tank, because he told me the only thing that he had that could combat a Knight with a Lynch Guard. So I'm like, oh yeah, cool. But I saw that and thought, well, I'm not running a Knight, because if he runs that, there's strength 7 armor bang, they just rip it apart. So I decided against him to run my full 5 Psyker Cabal. So I put all 5 Psykers in. I didn't run the Knight, I didn't run the Obliterators. And the reason that I did that is because I felt like I know that a Necron Death Star is hard to move, but I feel that 5 Sorcerers in 20 Hounds is harder. And not only do I think mine was harder, but he has no psychic defense whatsoever. There is not a single warp charge in his army, so he's not going to be denying anything. And he doesn't have the Selexis Assassin. He doesn't have, much any D strength stuff. So I was like, he can put out as much damage as he wants. He's not going to take out my Death Star. And then I looked at the amount of kill points there were, and I thought, you know what? If I run those Psykers, I've got 5 Psykers and any dogs, he's got significantly more kill points on the table. So I'm going to beat him on kill points, and hopefully beat him on objectives, and he's not going to be able to table me. That was my theory on how I was going to win. I knew that Destroyer Lord was going to be a challenge, but I felt like if I try to use the Knight, it's just going to get stomped. And if I try to use the Obliterators, they're not going to be able to put out enough damage. Whereas the 2 Sorcerers, adding in all those extra strength 10 close combat attacks, and adding in the endurance, and I mean that as in like, not the power endurance, like the actual ability to endure attacks to the Death Star, was well worth it. So that's basically the list comparison. The way the game basically played out, I'll try and remember it. I'm going to have to look down so that I can visualize the board. So I deployed my Death Star. He deployed his 2 units of Immortals on backfield objectives, and then basically his Death Star here with his Wraiths adjacent. I got first turn. I sat back and cast all of my powers. He moved forward, and then I went to charge him, so I moved forward, failed a 4-inch charge. So I was like, fuck, now he's going to get me. But luckily I had all my powers off, so I was like, bring it on anyway. So he's charged me. He's done a ton of wounds, but I managed to pass pretty much all of my saves. Then in return, I did a ton of wounds to him. He managed to pass all of his saves, and it went back on him like that for a while. He charged his Wraiths in and his Death Star in, because I think he was just going, you know what, if I'm going to take it out, it has to be balls to the walls. Personally, I think that was a tactical error on his part. If I was him, I would have charged my Death Star with his and let them tie each other up, and then I would use the Wraiths to run around and cap objectives. And that way, both Death Stars would have tied each other up for the entire game, no kill points would have been given to either side, and he would have won on victory points on Maelstrom cards. But instead, he threw everything into an unkillable Death Star, and I think that's where he come undone. And then, basically, it all boiled down to a really lucky challenge. I issued a challenge, he accepted it with Nemzor, wherever he is there. And he was the guy that gave the unit Fearless. So when I killed him, and I got really lucky and killed him in the challenge, his whole unit lost Fearless. So he passed his chest save that round because he only lost the combat by 1 because I killed Menza. None of my guys died, none of his other guys died. Then, in the next combat, I just channeled everything I possibly could at the Wraiths, killed them, did shitloads of wounds to them. He did no wounds back, and then he had failed his leadership check. He fell back and got cut down. Boom. And that cutting him down took out everything. Which no reanimation protocols, no re-rollable 2-out saves, nothing. His Death Star was gone. His Wraiths were gone. All he had left on the table was his 2 units of Immortals, at which point he conceded and said, no, well played, you won the game. Game over. So that's how the first game went down. I am very happy with every single decision I made in the game. You know, it's one of those rare games where you look back at it and you go, I didn't fuck that up. You know, like you look at it, you're like, I was on point. I didn't make a single mistake. You know, the only I still feel that I didn't make any mistakes in that game. Whereas I think my opponent made a significant one, which was 1, he shouldn't have charged those Wraiths in. He should have used them to score more victory points. And 2, he should have just never accepted a challenge with the guy that gave the unit Fearless. Keep that guy at the back. Keep throwing all your other characters in there first. Keep the Fearless guy out of it, and that way, no matter how many wounds I win by, you're still there. And if he had done that, he probably could have tied my Death Star up for the entire game, in which case he would have won. So, Benno, if you happen to be watching this, that's just my opinion. I'm not the world's greatest gamer, but that's how I felt that he probably should have played it. So, that's the first game. As for the mission, it was ATC, so it was the same with the Maelstrom of War, Eternal War, and Kill Point Differential. The secondary objectives, God, I wish I had the mission pack on me right now. In fact, I might. I can't pause it, so let's just I'm just going to jump off camera, and I'll see if I have the mission pack with me. I think I do. In here somewhere. Come on. Yes. Fuck yeah. Mission pack. So, the first mission, there's 2 bonus points that you could, 3 bonus points that you could potentially achieve. One of them was if your most expensive non-independent character unit is alive at the end of the game. So for me, that was the Flesh Hounds, and for him, I believe it was the whatchamacallums, Lich Guard. Yeah, 200 points for that unit. So I killed his Lich Guard, obviously, when they got cut down in the sweeping advance. So I got that. He didn't. And then the other one was control more table quarters than your opponent at the end of the game, which again, he was tabled, so I control more. So I got full 20 of, each game would get you a maximum of 20 points, and I got all 20. So that was a very strong start to the tournament. So that's how that game went down. Very surprising. That Destroyer Lord is very, very hard to kill. You know, if I hadn't got lucky with that sweeping advance, I don't know how you can realistically expect to kill it short of using destroyer weapons. Other than that, you're shit out of luck. I have no idea what that loud bang was. Anyway, I think the cats are fucking around. So yeah, that's how that game went down. I was really happy with it. Let's jump on to the next game. So for my second game, I was up against Andrew Armstrong, and he was playing with not that. Open it. Why is it not opening it? Sorry guys, I'm just trying to open the list. Why are you being slow? Hang on, I think it's just loading. Here we go. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. View it in 75%. There we go. Sorry that took so long. So this was the second game that I went up against, and when I saw the pairing, I was like, fuck, because this is Grey Knights, lots of Grey Knights, and I have lots of demons, and I was like, well, he's got preferred enemy, he's got to fucking banish me, he's gonna, psych out grenades, he's gonna pull all those fucking tricks, and he's gonna use his force weapons to deny my feel no pain, and he's gonna use null zone to deny my invulnerable save, and he's just gonna chew through me. So I was really worried about this game. Also looking at his list, so his core detachment is a Nemesis Strike Force. So we had a Librarian, Mastery level 3. He had a Librarian. He had a Terminator Squad. So that's the first Nemesis Strike Force. Second Nemesis Strike Force was another Librarian, a Strike Squad, and 2 Dread Knights with the Teleport Homers. So essentially 3 Librarians in a squad of Terminators, supported by 2 Dread Knights and some Strikes. So that was his core. Then he had sideboards. He had one that had 2 more Dread Knights, which would have meant 4, and that's the one I thought he was going to bring. Because that many Dread Knights hitting me at once, after his cast Null Zone and Banishment, completely removed my save, then you use your force weapons. I was like, oh shit, out of luck. Luckily he didn't bring that, much to my surprise. Then his next was a Librarian, a Scout Squad, and Thunderfire Cannons, which he didn't bring that. I'm not 100% sure why that's even in the list. To be honest, I would almost always just go with the Dread Knights. But this is actually one of the lists from Menza Gaming, one of their lists. So if you head over to their page, they did a big talk about this list and what units are in it and why he's taken them. So I won't go into too much detail because I don't really know why they've taken what they've taken. But what I will tell you is what he actually used, which sideboard he chose, which was this one here with the 3 more Librarians. Mastery level 2, Space Marine Bike, and this is a Libby Conclave. So he had those 3, 1 jump pack, 2 bikes. So in the end he had 3 Librarians there, plus his core detachment, which had another 3, so we had 6 Librarians in a Terminator Squad. So it's a big 11-man Death Star, supported by 2 Dread Knights and a Strike Squad. So I was looking at it going, okay, you want to play Death Star on Death Star? I can do that. The sideboard I chose was my Renegade Knight. And the reason that I chose that is because I thought he's going to be able to do some serious damage to my Death Star if he chooses it as a target priority. So I wanted to give him something else that was a significant enough a threat to have him try and deal with it, and maybe take some of the pressure off my Death Star. And at the same time, I thought he was going to be bringing Dread Knights. That's the list I thought he would use, because if I was going up against me, that's what I would have used. And I'm like, okay, well, if he's bringing the Dread Knights, I'm pretty confident that 1 Renegade Knight can take out a couple of Dread Knights. I felt that that was an achievable task, because I'm going to be hitting it with Strength D, and even if even if the Strength D doesn't kill it, then I'm going to be stomping it, which I can stomp out, right? So I was pretty confident that the Renegade Knight was the way to go. That being said, the Renegade Knight didn't do that at all, and he didn't run the Wraith Knights the Dread Knights the way I was expecting him to. So it was a very, very interesting game. I don't think any of us did anything that the other one saw coming. So as for the game, we got, I deployed my Death Star and my Imperial Knight. It was Vanguard Strike, so I deployed thusly, and he basically just deployed 24 inches adjacent. I got first turn, so I used my first turn to, essentially I drew a couple of cards that I needed that were on my side of the table. So I thought, instead of scouting, moving forward and jumping up against space, I'm going to jump back, I'm going to grab a few cards, and then we'll start the game next turn. So it's sort of my way of going, let's start the game with me already on a few objectives. Whereas if I had gone forward and left those objectives at the back, and then he killed me, I would have lost. Whereas if I can go back, hold those cards, go forward, and then if he still kills most of my stuff, I already have those victory points. I already have that slight head start. So I fell back, grabbed those cards. Then basically he moved forward with his Dread Knights to within charge range. So then in my turn, I then drew another card, which was secure objective 3 or something like that, which was over near where my Renegade Knight was. So instead of charging in with him, he went and captured another objective. So for the majority of that game, all my Renegade Knight did was jump from objective to objective to objective, getting me those victory points. Which some might say that was a waste, but he got me 3 victory points throughout that game, and that's pretty good. Any unit that can get you 3 victory points on its own is pretty good. Death Star charged into his Dread Knight and smashed it. Then he moved his Death Star a bit closer. Then my Death Star ran and smashed the other Dread Knight. Then he charged me with his. So I took out both of his. Meanwhile, his Death Star was throwing Vortex of Doom at my Knight, dropped it down to a single hull point remaining, and they were casting Null Zone and stuff like that on my Death Star. But thanks to being Mastery level 3, and thanks to being Collar of Corn, I was denying everything he threw at me. So every time he tried to Null Zone me, I'd deny it. Every time he tried to banish me, I'd deny it. You know, any of that sort of stuff. I was just denying everything. And I was sort of playing the I'm faster than you card, because he didn't want to move to within my charge range. But at the same time, if he wanted to charge me, he had to. And because I'm faster than him, my maximum threat range is 24, his is 18. So he'd move, if he was outside of that 18, he knew that he wasn't going to get charged this turn, which then guaranteed that I would. So he was hesitant. And I think he hesitated a little too much, perhaps. And maybe had he been a bit more aggressive, he might have done better. But yeah, so because of his hesitation, I was able to kill both Dread Knights before the big combat of Death Star and Death Star, which then meant his Death Star had a little support. It didn't have enough punch to get through all my stuff. And then basically, once we were in combat, it was just a big slugfest. Eventually, he killed almost all of my Death Star in that combat. Like, if it had gone for another turn, he would have won. He would have finished off those. The Knight would still been alive, but he would have got all the kill points from finishing them off, and he would have won the game. But it ended on turn 5. Naturally, just through a roll, we rolled off for it, and the game ended. So I won, and it was a overwhelming victory. Like, I got the bonus objectives were control more objectives than your opponent at the end of the game, and my Knight was on an objective, whereas the only thing he had left on the table was his Death Star, which was in combat with mine, and neither of them were holding an objective. So I held one, he held none, so I won that battle point. And slay your opponent's most expensive non-independent character unit, which was his Dread Knight, which I slayed both of them. So that was, I got all of those points. And then also I got a lot more kill points than he did, and I controlled a lot more Maelstrom cards than he did. So victory point wise, I smashed him. Even though, had it gone for one more turn, he would have tabled me, or just about tabled me. Victory point wise, I was so far ahead that the game ended right when I wanted it to. The other thing worth mentioning is that I got First Blood, and the way that I did that was I used my Cyclopia Cabal to fire his Death Star unit at the strikes, and that took them out first turn. Just shitloads of Storm Bolters, and it was enough to just completely decimate that unit and get me that First Blood victory condition. So that's more or less how that game played out. I was a bit disappointed with my Knight, because he got raped by that Vortex of Doom. But I mean, what can you do? It's a big strength attack. It's taken, significant hull points off of my Knight. There's not much you can say about that. the one thing that we did wrong in that game was he has preferred enemy demons. And because my Death Star contains demons, we played it that he gets preferred enemy when attacking them. But in turn 5, the tournament organizer was just doing his rounds and he just came over to see how we were going and see where we were up to. And he's decided to watch because it was such a cinematic looking game because it was demons versus Grey Knights. And my demons have Grey Knights on their bases and stuff like that, which are painted in the same scheme as his, so it looked really fucking cool. So he was just watching it, and he watched my opponent roll it, and then pull out all the ones and re-roll, and he's like, oh, why are you doing that? He's like, oh, preferred enemy demons. To which the tournament organizer brought it to my attention that you only get that if the entire unit is demons. If it's a mixed unit that has some demons and some non-demons, you don't get preferred enemy against it. So the whole game he was getting preferred enemy when he shouldn't have been. So it didn't matter in the end because I won. So it didn't even make a fuss of it, and I don't think it was an intentional mistake. I think he genuinely thought that he did, and I genuinely thought that he did. So it was what it was. But yeah, definitely something to remember in future is that if it's a mixed unit, you don't get it. You don't get preferred enemy against it. You don't get hatred against it. You don't get anything against it that specifically targets that type. It has to be entirely that type for that to work. So that was the second game. And I pretty much covered all of that. So I've covered which sideboard he used, which one I used, how the game went down, when it ended. So that's all of that. And now I'll go into the third game that I played, which was against Dirk. Come on. Here we go. So Dirk was playing Tau, and Dirk's actually a good mate of mine. I played Dirk a few times, and in the lead up to this tournament, I actually had a warm-up game against Dirk. I was like, yeah, Dirk, come over, we're both going to this tournament, let's get some practice in, right? Because we didn't think we were going to face each other, because we thought there was going to be 80 people there. So like, chances of us facing off was little to no, so let's get a practice game in and increase both of our chances. And in that practice game, Dirk tabled me. And the way he did that was he had a Selexis Assassin, which I had never seen on the tabletop before. So he had a Selexis Assassin, and then basically he moved it within 12 inches of my Death Star, took all my powers away, and then with all of his Tau, he just shot me off the fucking table. So that was the game, that was the warm-up game before the tournament started, where I was going, okay, I need to make sure that one of my sideboards is capable of stopping that assassin before it stops me. So that's where I came up with the idea for the Obliterator sideboard. Now, Dirk helped me come up with that idea. Well, helped me by showing me what happens if you don't prepare for an assassin. So I went away and came up with the sideboard. I submitted my list with the new thing in there, and I was like, yeah, cool. And then I go up against Dirk in the tournament. And he looks at me and goes, fuck. Because he knows that I've built in a counter specifically for that. So it was almost like I tailored my list. But I had no idea that I was going to go up against him. I just thought if somebody, because surely if Dirk's thought to do what other people have, and if somebody brings a assassin, I'm fucked. So there's the weakness in my Death Star that I need to fix. I need to put a fucking shield over that weak spot, and that was the Obliterators. And it worked perfectly for me, and I ended up pretty much tabling Dirk. All he had left on the table at the end of the game was a single Riptide with a single wound. But I'll go through his list first, and then I'll go through what I brought and how I did it. So his HQ, he had a combined arms detachment from Farsight, and then he had an assassin, which he had a really cool converted assassin made out of a croup, so that it would tie in well with his Tau. He's played it as a Selexis assassin. But yeah, so he had basically his commander had all that. For you Tau players out there who will know what that is, or just you experienced people who know what that is, I don't know what multiple rocket pod thingies and whatever. Then for troops, you had crisis suits, a unit of single crisis suit, and 2 riptides. So that's his core list. And then his sideboard was an assassin, and then another single suit. So we had 2 single suits, 1 unit of 4 suits with 8 missile pods, and 2 riptides, and a drone command guy. You also had fire warriors. You had 3 units of fire warriors. What are you doing to me, Dirk? I think he fucked up with his list submission because he's led 350 points in his sideboard and he's only spent 205 there. And I got this off the tournament organizer, so the list that he's submitted, which is the list I have here, isn't what he played, which is inconvenient for this freaking video. But basically, yeah, also in there he had 3 units of 6 fire warriors. And I don't remember seeing that. So maybe this is not accurate. God damn it. Anyway, the rough idea is the same. It was suits, commanders, and an assassin. And basically, he deployed his assassin. He went first. He rolled off, got first turn. So he deployed first. He deployed everything sort of spread out along his backfield, and then he deployed the assassin, infiltrated the assassin right in the fucking center. I deployed my stuff pretty much in the center as well, and then my obliterators at the front so that they could push forward and get that assassin. Then I managed to get quite lucky and roll a seize the initiative, and I stole it. So I got my warlord trait gave me +1 to seizing the initiative, and I managed to steal it. And obviously, if you haven't picked up yet, the sideboard that I chose against him was the obliterators. I've done that because that's specifically what I built the obliterators into the list for, was so that I can instant death that assassin before he can take away my powers, and then my Cabals is going to run his line. And that's literally exactly what happened. So first turn, I stole the first turn, so I used my scout move and then another move in my first turn to get as close to his army as I could whilst staying outside of that 24 inches of the assassin, so that if somehow my obliterators fail to kill it, he's still going to move 6, run up to 6, and then have 12-inch bubble. But I made sure that even if he got all of that, I'm still outside. So no matter what he does, he's not taking away my powers this turn. And that gives me 2 full rounds to try and take out that assassin before he can use it to take me out. Sorry guys. So I had my guys flanked around that side, the obliterators fired on him and took him out. So that was my first turn. And he pretty much was ready to concede at this point, because he knew that he's not going to be able to take away my powers, and he does not have enough firepower to get through a 40 wound unit that has 4 up rerollable invulnerable saves with 4 up feeling of pain. He just knew he wasn't going to do it. He played it out to the end though, because obviously if you concede, you get a 0. So he wanted to play it out anyway and hope for a narrow loss. I ended up rolling up his line and just chewing through it with my Desta. He made a few mistakes, I think, in his movement, where what he did is he sort of spread his units out. I think it was just due to the speed, because obviously the Riptides can move and then jump, whereas the Fire Warrior units were just moving their 6s. But what it allowed me to do was move, charge, then he'd have the next Fire Warriors there, so I'd move, charge. So each turn I was getting that additional movement from the charges, which allowed me to catch up with his Riptides. So what he probably could have done was throw your Fire Warriors into me, I'll kill him, but then your Riptides are ages away, and now I have to keep running to get to you. Whereas giving me those extra units allowed me to sort of leapfrog and get up closer to him. So that could have been maybe something he could have done differently. But I think he was in a really tricky position. And I think because I was able to seize the initiative, I was able to use my obliterators to kill that assassin. And at that point, it was guaranteed he was not going to win that game. He could have probably done some things differently to narrow the loss and not lose by so much, which could have given him a bit more of an edge in battle points for the tournament. But generally speaking, he was pushing shit uphill, so I feel sorry for him. As soon as I seized the initiative and killed his assassin, I was just like, fuck, I feel like a dick now. The rest of this game is not going to be fun at all for Dirk. But what am I going to do? I'm not going to not play it hard. I'm not going to sympathy him. That's not what you come here to do. So I played it hard, took all of them out, with the exception of one Riptide was left with one wound remaining. And I was a bit dirty that I didn't quite get the table, but because I then controlled all of the Eternal War markers, and I got all of my Maelstrom cards, and I got a massive amount of kill points. I had so many more victory points than him that it essentially played the same as if I had taken him. And the bonus battle points for that one was kill more independent characters than your opponent, which I killed one, which was his commander, but he killed one as well, which was... Well, actually, I think I lost one of my cycles to a perils, so we counted that as him killing it, because that's how you do it for, kill points and stuff, so... Oh no, it was my Warpsmith he killed, sorry, I apologise. It was my Warpsmith, he managed to snipe that, which gave him one independent character, and then I got one, so neither of us got those battle points. And the other one was issue a challenge, which I got, he didn't. So that was a very strong win for me as well. And I walked away from day one thinking, holy shit, because I thought I was going to go in there and lose every game because I wasn't super confident with my list. I'm not super practiced at it. And also being a non-comped event, I knew I was going to be going up against Riptides, Ghost Keels, fucking Wraith Knights, Scatterbikes, all that sort of stuff. I knew that people were just going to be bringing the cheese. There were going to be Skyhammer Annihilation Forces everywhere, and Grav Guns everywhere, and all this sort of stuff. So I was really worried. I was just going to get absolutely slaughtered in every game. Plus, there was some of the top players in Australia attending this event. It wasn't just the people from my neighbourhood. This was a big, big names were there. So I was just excited to be able to play in that league, and play with these people. And I was like, maybe even if I just learn some shit, from these games, and then I can take it back to my own. But I learned a lot, but I actually managed to do a lot of damage as well. So I was really, really happy with myself after that first day. It was also during the first day, which I'll just touch on this a little bit. During the first day was paint scores and player votes. So everybody set up their armies, which you can see I've done on my Facebook page if you head over to that, which is blogforthebloodgod at facebook.com, /facebook.com, whatever, just Google it. I've done a lot of detailed videos on the work in progress stuff and all the modelling and hobby stuff on my display board, which managed to win me Player's Choice. So of all the boards there and all the armies there, mine was voted for by all of the other players as the sexiest of sex, which I was fucking stoked with because in my opinion there were some beautiful armies there. There was some really, really good painting, source lighting, freehand, weathering, there was some beautiful display boards. So I thought mine was definitely a contender, but I didn't expect it to win. So I was really flattered and really, really excited when they called out, my name for Player's Choice. I was like, looking around, I'm like, what, me? Fuck yeah. I didn't see that coming. Fucking that's awesome, So Player's Choice was that. So if you want to see the hobby side of the tournament, head over to my Facebook page because I've done a lot of stuff there. I'll probably want, because it's still a little bit more work that I want to do before I do a full showcase of it. But once it's 100% finished, I will do a YouTube upload where I'll get some lighting and I'll do some fancy camera editing, blah, blah, blah crap. So head over to Facebook and check that out. I've got a really cool display board, which got me Player's Choice, so it's definitely worth checking out. And also Paint Score, so this is where the tournament organizer went over, and they basically have a checklist where they tick box, and that gives you a score. So have you got freehand? Yes, tick. Have you got all your bases matching? Yes, tick. You know, have you got a strong theme? Yes, tick. You know, and it's out of 25, and I got a 22 for my paint score, which I was fucking stoked with because I don't necessarily feel that my painting is that good. But like I said, it's a tick box thing. So have you got some freehand? Yes, tick. Doesn't matter if it's fucking amazing as long as you have it. You know, there's sections for like bonus points where they can go, okay, for example, presentation. Have you got a display board? Is your army cohesive? Is it fully painted? Is it this, that, whatever? And then there's bonus points up to 5. So if you've got a really particularly good display board, you're going to get extra bonus points. Whereas if you've just got a piece of MDF where you've drawn hills onto it, stuck your models on there, technically you've got a display board, so you actually tick that box, but you ain't getting fucking any bonus points. You know, that's generally how the bonus points system works. So I must have got really high in my bonus points. There's also I've got a really cool conversion of my Cyclopia Cabal, where basically I got a Dread Knight, and I built it, laid it down, and then broke it. And then what I did is laying it down the way it was, I glued this arm to the base of this sorcerer, this arm to the base of that sorcerer, the torso to the base of the front sorcerer, the back legs to the bases of those sorcerers, so they could separate off, and all of the bases were independent, but if you position them together, come together like a jigsaw puzzle, and you can see that there's this dead Dread Knight on the ground, with the blacks driving over the top of him like they've just fucking smashed him and they're moving on, they don't even care. So, really cool conversion on that. And they've also got impaled Grey Knights on the back, and that's my way of getting around the Khorne Sorcerer angle, was that the Grey Knights on the backs, they are the actual ones casting the powers, not the Khorne Chaos Space Marines. So I've done a lot of stuff on that as well on my blog, so head over to my Facebook page, you'll find all the information on there, you'll find the videos and stuff on there. But they're key contributing factors to how I managed to get this trophy, which is 3rd overall, because my paint score was so high and my player choice was so high, that tipped me up as well as my gaming, my battle score. I think I was 5th in battle score, and then because my presentation was above those that came, you know, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, that put me above them, because a couple of them didn't even have fully painted armies. So they obviously got lower paint scores, so overall that dropped them down. So without further ado, I'm going to stop talking here, and I'm going to jump over to the 3rd and final video, where I'm going to discuss the final 3 games. If you feel that I've missed anything, because I probably most certainly have, if you feel that I've missed anything, chuck a little comment in the bottom below, and I'll get back to you. So if you have any questions about the games specifically, let me know. And if you happen to be one of my opponents and you happen to be watching this, first of all, thanks for the games, because I had a fantastic game in every single one. But secondly, I apologize if any of the information I've just given isn't 100% accurate, because I am going off my memory, which is shit. So basically, that's as far as I can remember, that's how the game went down. There might have been a few, you know, bits and pieces, but more or less, that's the same. So I'm going to jump into video number 3.
One for the blood, y'all.